you very much for joining us here at the CNN News 18 Town Hall, the Defense Edition. As somebody who has coordinated and been at the forefront of many such joint operations involving all the three services, first thing that I want to ask you is, what, according to you, were the successes of the interagency and inter-services coordination and cooperation that you saw in those 4 days of Operation Sindur?
Thank you, Jaka, for calling me here. You see, this integration, jointness and coordination, this effort were started way back after the Kargil conflict had ended. Thereafter, headquarter IDS was set up, whose main job was to create jointness and integration. Thereafter, major change happened when we got a CDS, and from there it took off almost vertically. In the bargain, we have set up three agencies. One is Defense Intelligence Agency, Defense Cyber Agency, and Defense Space Agency. So apart from jointness and integration among services, we are also doing coordination with these agencies. And let me tell you, this operation which was undertaken was a culmination of such a long effort, and it gives us immense satisfaction that whatever we have been doing correctly. Selection of targets, intelligence planning, joint planning, coordination centers, everything happened actually quite nicely. One more point I would like to emphasize is this has, we have not borrowed this model from anywhere. We have grown this organically. So that is one major difference between other people and what we are trying to do. Highly effective, I can say, in one word.
If there are any takeaways or examples that you would like to highlight where you saw integration work effectively between the three services in the context of Operation Sindur, because it's the first large-scale military operation we've had after the integration came through.
Okay. So two things stand out. First is selection of target. For that, the intelligence required was of very, let's say, high order. It had to be very precise, and the amount of information we gathered, we sifted through, it couldn't have happened if there was no coordination or there was no support from all the possible agencies. All the possibilities. Again, I want to highlight this. The second is communication. You see, integration cannot be achieved if common communication protocols are not available. This we could achieve. Whatever you are seeing and whatever videos you are playing, it is happening just because we have common communication protocols now. So this is the thing which I want to give as example.
So, sir, earlier this month in a seminar here in Delhi, you had said, and I quote, Operation Sindur demonstrated that indigenous innovation, when it's properly harnessed, it can match and sometimes even exceed international benchmarks. You particularly mentioned the IAF's Integrated Air Command and Control Systems, IACCS. There's been a lot of good things written about Akash Tir, the indigenous air defense systems. Tell us, again, in the context of Operation Sindur, because it's the first major military operation where we saw indigenous weapon systems being deployed. What was your experience of the indigenous weapon systems, particularly the Akash Tir and other weapon systems that were natively developed?
So, IACCS and Akash Tir are part of our effort towards network-centric warfare. This we have been at it for some time now. In my earlier postings and assignments, I was directly in charge of IACCS, so it is close to my heart. And this time we could now integrate it with the army network, which is Akash Tir. So this indigenization effort has actually really played and it has paid us great dividend. So some specific examples I will give you. We have been able to integrate IACCS with our various surface-to-air missiles, and we are able to control them sitting far away. It is not a mean achievement; it's a very great achievement. Second is that drone and counter drone, both were almost exclusively made in India. And if you see a lot of coverage they have already got, the kind of waves which we are getting, everything was getting neutralized by our own homegrown systems. So that is where the military capability which we developed has come in a lot of help to us. We have also learned a lot of valuable lessons which we are working on. This is the main job of headquarter ideas, to integrate and put everything together.
So when you said, the majority of the drones and counter drones were indigenously developed, this was also the first time, at least in the context of India-Pakistan, we saw drones emerging as sort of the first line of attack. What are the lessons therein, especially because you're a Air Force man? Does this completely redefine the paradigm of warfare as we know it?
Not redefined. It is a new tool in the, so the old tools are there. If you look at the history of warfare, over the years, newer and newer weapon systems, capabilities are being added. So nowadays we talk of multi-domain warfare. So like cyber also is weaponized, space is getting sort of weaponized, information is getting weaponized. So this is a new tool or new weapon which is available. It is giving me more and more options of say force generation and force projection. That is our opinion. It is not going to replace anything if that is the intent of a question.
No, more than replace, does that become the first rung of the escalation ladder, or the first step of the escalation ladder?
It may be first rung, it may be several rungs later, because it is coming into multiple and different capabilities. The ranges are different, the effect which it can bring is different, the kind of targeting philosophies are different. So it may be utilized almost in the beginning or maybe sometime. It depends upon the type of, let's say, campaign which we are planning.
The other thing that got redefined with Sindur, I think, to some extent, is, these lines. For example, the line of control. If you go back 10, 15 years ago when 2611 happened, there was this huge debate about, can we send our planes across the LC and hit? This time, both on the operation that happened on the 7th morning where the terror targets were hit and also the intervening night between 9th and 10th, all of it happened from hundreds of kilometers inside our own territory. Again, how does that lower the threshold of war, or does that add a new dimension to warfare as we know it?
No, it does not lower threshold. Actually, the other side is aware that such capability now exists. So it should even out actually the desire to, let's say, do any act which is against our national policies. So you see this threshold which you are talking of, the number of it is becoming more and more finer. Actually, the number of steps within the same space have increased, and one of the steps is actually being usurped by these drones. That is what we are thinking.
For example, the Scalps or the BrahMos, they were launched from very much within our territory. So the need, for example, and even when you go back to 2019, what happened in Balakot, the need for our fighter jets to cross the line and hit on the other side, and vice versa, it applies to them also as much as it applies to us. Yes. Does that change the paradigm of warfare?
Changes in the meaning that I can respond without crossing the borders. That is one thing, and I think that has what made our government say and state new normal, for which we are actually always prepared. So I can now attack, or I can engage targets, which we have also shown without crossing the border, with high precision, without any collateral damage. This was not possible maybe some time back, but now it is possible. Similarly, we have to develop capabilities to safeguard our installations against this. That is also a lesson which everybody is talking about.
So in that context, you reckon the importance of air defense systems becomes much more, almost quintessential.
Yeah, air defense. So air defense we have been harping on for a very long time. Indian Air Force did this layered air defense system, and we have taken along Indian Army and Navy also along. So this air defense is the thing which is to have. You should have very strong defense if you want to go on.
A moment ago, you mentioned, we've now defined a new normal. What is this new normal as per your understanding?
So our threshold which is there, what we had said earlier, that is being redefined. And it means that the capabilities which we have will be brought to bear whenever at the place of our choosing and our decision. So this is what is new normal. Our Prime Minister has already stated it. So it is our job to deliver that promise.
So if I may just elaborate on that point. So the idea that the enemy can use these terror proxies, because ultimately that was the objective of Operation Sindur, the idea that the enemy can use these terror proxies and get away with it, that has been redefined, you reckon? You think so?
Yeah, so that level of deterrence has actually set at a very high level. That is the meaning of this.
The other thing, I know there are things that you can and cannot say, but I'm going to try and push my luck a little bit. How much damage did we cause in Pakistan?
Yeah, so the damage you have shown already, and it was made visible on national television. In the briefings which armed forces conducted, the damage was clearly visible. So that's the damage which we we came to know from satellite images, from our own recce platforms, and from some open source material also, which got verified. So tremendous amount of damage was done. So every time it is said that 88 hours, 88 hours you say. So this 88 hours itself says a lot about the damage which has been caused. Otherwise, no say self-respecting nation or armed forces will capitulate in such a short time.
So I'm going to push a little more on that question. Did you hit Kirana Hills?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? और ये भी बता दीजिएगा कि नूर खान में क्या हुआ?
We are.
It's evident.
No,
what
it is
happened.
all aware. All of you must have seen the video there of footage of Noor Khan.
So this time you also attached cameras to the drones and to the jets as well, because I believe there was footage available from some of the missions that were sent as well.
Yeah, so some drones, they have cameras available on them, basically to guide them or to use it for targeting.
Was there also a lesson from Balakot?
The amount, you see, every time we are trying to innovate. So Balakot was a subdued operation. This was a longish type of operation. And the damage in this, which Pakistanis had done in this, it was to civilian people. So it had to be, let's say, proportionate in manner of speaking. Yes.
So you also, I want to come back to the indigenization question, because you've been involved with, indigenization initiatives in the past, whether it's the Jaguar upgrade, whether it's the MiG-27 upgrade. Particularly because Operation Sindur, you said one of the new paradigms is drones. The other is about the emphasis on air defense systems. What, in your view, is going to be the next big technological leap as you see it?
Yeah, so technological leap is we have to keep going deeper and deeper. We have to be more precise. We have to see farther and farther. And we have to put all this together as quickly as possible. So we are going into network-centric warfare. That is that is the base layer actually, and on that different applications will reside, which will be inside Su-30 upgrade or new AMCA or LCA Mark II or maybe a lot of drones and UAVs, UCAVs, which are being procured. Also, this integration of different domains, cyber going on to kinetic is the next challenge. And this is where we are working. So if you look that we have already started the space domain, we are already launching SBS-3 maybe next year. And similarly, cyber capabilities we are enhancing. Air defense, we have already talked about, that we are enhancing. Long-range weapons, that is the integration of long-range weapons, realization of long-range weapons, that work is also in earnest is going on.
So you talked about AMCA and LCA 2. I know this has been a ongoing thing about the delays in some of these projects. Are you confident that those are getting addressed, particularly in light of Sindur now?
Yeah, I have been very confident. I have flown LCA, and it's a wonderful platform. There was a lot of upheaval in the world in the last, let's say, since COVID struck. And after that, this geopolitical situation has not been very good. So because of which there was up and down, but I think that is past us. This is also a major lesson learned by all of us, that indigenization is the way to go. You should have self-reliant defense industry. And that is the way we are going. So LCA Mark II and AMCA, I am fairly certain we will get. So delay is part and parcel of this, nothing to get worried about.
And you don't ever think that there is a school of thought, like for example, Elon Musk believes the era of fighter jets is over, that drones will replace fighter jets and fighter pilots. You don't think that such a thing is ever going to happen?
So I don't think so in our lifetime we are going to see that. It is not going to happen for next 100 years also. Yes, maybe MUMT concept will come in, that is unmanned teaming will happen first. Completely unmanned, I don't think so we will be achieving that capability in near future.
So one of the other concepts, and you're a big proponent of this, is you've said that future wars will be won by those who complete the OODA loop the fastest. OODA is observe, orient, decide, and act. Can you just explain what this is?
Yeah, so there was a USAF Colonel John Boyd. So he put this into writing. Actually, it is a general knowledge type of observation. So he put it into writing. It basically talks about how fast you can take a decision. That is the meaning of this OODA loop. If you are able to decide quickly and act quickly, that means your decision cycle is very good and you are ready to take next decision. Because in operations, one decision, if it is successfully completed, it will lead to decision A. If it's not successfully completed, you have to do something else. Now, so enemy is also taking decision, you are also taking decision. You have to take decision faster than him. That is the basic principle of beating the OODA loop. Now, how do you beat it? You should have very good sensors. You should have decision support systems. So maybe AI based or big data based, that is where we are working. Then you should be able to quickly assess the damage which you have caused to get into this. So this is one thing, surveillance and big data systems, all this we are working on, and we are in the process of enhancing the decision-making cycle. Now it looks very simple when you're sitting in AC comfort, but in fog of war, where the number of variables known to you are actually, they are known to you in range, not in a definitive value, it becomes difficult. That is why training and enhancing your mental capability, exercising it in peacetime is important.
So in the context of Operation Sindur, this OODA loop that you talk about, how do you see that having played out? The OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act in the context of Operation Sindur.
Like I told you in the beginning, first is you have to surveil and you have to decide which target to hit and to engage. Thereafter, you have to pass that information to the execution agency. And then you have to see what has been the result. So this result, because you cannot go there physically, So either it comes to you through your sensors or through satellite surveillance. So that is how you are able to do this. So we were able to achieve 8 to 10 hours cycle easily this time. We have to shorten it further.
You have to shorten the time cycle. So you said you've recorded, the damage caused because that is the last one, Orient, Decide and Act. Can you tell us, like, in terms of damage left behind on the other side, what is your assessment? Is it 12 air bases? Is it?
So number of air bases is 11, that is known.
11 air bases.
Known. There is no, there is no confusion or there is no question about that. So yeah, there are a few radar, there are a few surface to air missiles.
So where is the confusion then?
There is no confusion. I don't know where is the confusion.
The confusion is in the extent of damage, not the number of places.
Yeah, extent of damage. You see, we were trying to, it was non-escalatory. It was proportionate response. It was not that the way you see in some of the later conflicts. We were not trying to do that. That is the thing.
So when the non-escalatory one, I believe the first press statement that was put out by the ADG PI also said that the actions taken on 7th, which was targeting these 9 terror bases, was non-escalatory. So is it the case that it's the enemy who escalated and India had to respond proportionately?
Yeah, it is for all of us to make out actually. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now that this has laid the template, Marshal, one other thing that we saw again during the course of Operation Sindur is a lot of Chinese weapon systems being used by Pakistan, whether it was the air defense systems, whether it is their missiles, and I believe some of their fighter jets were also deployed. And now China has publicly said that they're going to be supplying the 5th generation fighter jet, the J-35, to Pakistan in an expedited timeline. What does that mean for us? First, this whole Chinese weapon systems being used by the Pakistan Army, and second, the J-35 question.
So they are using the weapons, they are weapon systems. We have to basically build our defenses and offenses against those kind of capabilities. As far as this 5th generation is concerned, we are aware of these news. We are following it closely. And our own modernization is on track. I have already spoken about AMCA. Recently, Honorable Raksha Mantri has already announced the execution model where private and private sector, public sector and private sector, both will compete and participate. We will be able to achieve the timelines the way they have been laid out. Also, we are getting into counter-stealth and anti-stealth technology. So that is how you counter stealth technology. We are also strengthening our surface-to-air capability, which is able to counter this. This is how we are doing this.
But for decades, all three forces have been preparing for what you call the two-front war. But now with this, as somebody said in the media, it's the Pakistan Army, but the weapons are all Chinese. It's no longer a two-front war. It's a fused front, if you will. How much of a concern is that?
So this was a known fact, and this contiguous threat was known beforehand. So all our plans are already made in such a manner that we cater for this. It is not a concern at this stage. Yes, now it has become known to public. It was known to us much before.
So it was a unknown earlier. Now it's a known. All right. So final word. If I were to ask you for, you've mentioned this earlier as well about the takeaways from Operation Sindur. One is the indigenization of our weapon systems, the active entry of or arrival of drones as a line of attack. What would be the 2-3 big takeaways for you from these 4 days of Operation Sindur? And I must add, Operation Sindur is not concluded yet.
Yeah.
It's only been paused. But from those 4 days.
Non-linearity of response, simultaneity of response, and synchronization among all the agencies. This is what has been a great lesson and a success factor in this operation. Second is long-range vectors, longer and longer range vectors for surveillance also and for action also. And third is training in joint environment, in integrated environment, and in environment where the fog of war is there. These are the some of the key takeaways. We have also launched a future warfare course, putting this into account, and we are looking into all of this, and I think we are on correct path, and it will be a great success whenever we have to repeat this.
All right. We hope that we don't have to repeat it, but thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for Air Marshal Ashutosh Dixit?